Oh, hey everybody, this is Retrokid Reviews and I guess Quarantine Lord at Armor. Long story there. Uh, if you're wondering, there's following shots here and why I got my usual loadouts. No, it's not because I'm reviewing today's, new movie? Sweet. Extraction. Last night I finally downloaded and played a bunch of hours of Predator Hunting Grounds, and can you tell the quarantine's got to me, at least gaming wise? So, popping off hypershot rounds out of the way, let's just get to the movie itself. It stars Chris Hemsworth, as I think his attempt at a John Wick clone, I think. It's actually pretty cool. It's most of their action scenes are gonna be in Bangladesh, and a Bangladesh gangster army, akin to I guess Black Hawk Down kind of days, except if they ever got a mafia, I guess as a subplot for that movie. Politics aside, the actions are not bad. Actually, there's a rival Bangladesh mercenary guy, but we'll get to him and those action scenes in a minute. The plot centers around this kid who is a son of one of the mobsters in that area, who basically is a target on his back and gets kidnapped relatively easy. I think like the first 20 minutes of the movie. But you get enough time, that 20 minutes, to understand that he has life. He has a bunch of friends. They have a personal arcade, which is kind of retro, even for my namesake, to see in 2020, let alone when they probably shot this in 2019. Netflix, scheduling wise, and everything not having to need a note, so, that's how it usually is. Another thing about this movie, it lands itself in a genre where I like to call dad, not bod or dad jokes like my generation's case, or I guess whatever's the Gen X equivalent of like dad action movies. I guess self-reflective dad action movies. Now, John Wick more or less started that trend, but there was a lot that I missed reviewing that is in that same category. One of which is Triple Frontier, and the one I think that broke it for a hot minute was 600 Ground. Card to that Michael Bay driven mess. The only reason why I sat through it was Ryan Reynolds, and hell, you probably did the same thing too if you saw it on your Netflix feed. The reason why I'm starting to start this trend, I guess, officially for my channel with Extraction is because, like I said, Hemsworth's in it, and one half of the Russos helped write and a little bit direct certain scenes. But one of their stunt guys, throughout all these years in the MCU, I forgot his name, I'll put the IMDb down below, wrote and directed this whole thing, and was 100% his IP along with the Russos' blessing, so when you see the action scenes later on in the movie when Hemsworth is like going a lot crazier and probably in the same kind of like mood and aspect with John Wick, but a little more methodical, at least for the final bridge scene. They pull the Saving Private Ryan final bridge scene. I'll get to that in a minute. As for the rival of that movie, he is from the country. I could be wrong there on his nationality. Same for the kid who gets kidnapped. No, like, oh, these are Italian mafia, or like, no, it's still within that same country region. Um, yeah, and there's a lot of slow scenes in between the action, which is going to be hard to say because the action is very spoiler heavy driven, and I would love for you guys to see it yourself. Particularly a certain knife fight sequence that happened in Bangladesh traffic where they're both dry heaving and like super tired, like me if I ever did a Nerf war, or me if I ever do an action movie. And they're just trying to like size up each other, catching their breath, and then traffic is just in the way half the time, and shit just keeps hitting them one after another, like multiple cars and multiple trucks and more, if you can even believe that after that. Hemsworth is at the top of his game. His physicality is at the same level you would see in the Avengers movies, honestly. His character is Tyler. I forgot his last name, like I said in the Stardust React leading up to this. But apparently it's a pun name for one of the action scene kills he does. So keep an eye on that if they did his full name in certain scenes. Ironically, David Harbour's in this too as like his buddy slash ex mercenary that wants to like get him out, but realizes the money's a little too good on a certain scene coming up. I think that was his final scene in the movie, so I won't spoil much there. I will say it leads to yet another fight scene during downtime of all things, which is also very rare for this genre as well. Well, since I'm here, I might as well do my quick ratings on stuff related to this dad, I guess, action genre. Triple Frontier is the best one of them all. I know Mark Wahlberg did one. The only reason I remember it because the trailers had him hit a guy with a school bus. So I guess a return to norm to like Four Brothers. You ever saw that retro trailer there? So more or less like that. Ooh, that's for Triple Frontier. That's a bit of an instant 10 out of 10. It had more character driven stuff, and you do feel sorry for the crew by the end. And I guess the plot of that is that they were trying to take down a cartel, but the mission blew, and they lose a couple of guys on the way there and going home. So that's a whole other story for another time. I know Oscar Isaac and Ben Affleck are in it, and along with a list of other character actors and known TV actors. You probably know one of them from Sons of Anarchy. Totally forgot the guy's name. And yet I like the Pacific Rim movies because of them. All right. So that all being said, in Chris Hemsworth's character's case, he's more self-reflective, just like I said with John Wick, but a little nuanced. More like, imagine if John lost his wife and his dog while he was still working for the High Table. Basically like that with Hemsworth's character. He's not sort of suicidal. He's just looking for that one last mission to either just end him or, I guess, end his career. Either one. Predator rules, but in the 2020s now kind of sense. So ultimately, it's a great movie. The only problem is the final bosses. Like I said, they're pseudo that country's version of a mafia, and they do some hardcore shit so you could totally remember them in like the Raid kind of sense. But even the Raid would have got a little crazier than that, and that's just me being a huge Raid fan and hope they ever do a third one after this whole thing's over, quarantine wise. Final rating for Extraction, definitely a 9.5 out of 10, within reason. Keep in mind, there are some hardcore stuff that I'm amazed a stunt team like that has actually pulled off, but again, that's more spoiler heavy, and I'll get to that maybe someday if I do a year-end review with this movie. So, that's my review of Extraction. So, aside from the normal nerf blaster here and there, what did you guys think of the movie if you guys saw it last week? Let me know in the comments down below. Hit the like so you can see more related, I guess, nerf content. And me finally getting back on this loadout during this quarantine is kind of a step up now that I think about it. Hit the notification bell for not just more me-related content with nerf or mods. The real nerf Red Hood, the real nerf Nightwing, the real nerf comic characters I've used for the last, I want to say, 4.5 years now. So yeah, end cards coming up. Previous video here to a retro review of... Crap, I forgot which one of this was. I think it was Double Dragon. I hope I was right about that. Other hand here to another previous video, which I know everyone here, Real Nerf Wise, is getting sick of me talking to death about Power Rangers Unworthy, but I'm not going to lie, that thing pays the bills views-wise, so cards there to my review of that theme. And, yeah, I guess center mass shot here if you're shooting me, or tagging me in this case. To sub the channel, and that all being said, I highly recommend Extraction. I don't recommend going all Nerf Florida, but when the action's on, it makes you want to break out the old loadouts. I'm just saying on my end. And I actually never really finished modding or at all modded the Nerf Recon 2, so leave me a comment or a couple of likes. 20 or so, let's just say, just to break it in on my case, if you guys want to do a live stream / mod of this thing. So I don't know. I'm going to have to contact maybe any of the big-time Nerf channels that could probably help me out. Maybe Wacom. Fingers crossed on the Discord on his end, just saying. That all being said, if anything, if I do a live stream on, I'll probably do the Hyper Shot, aka the Kickback, I think Zero Rise, because I'm really interested to see what's underneath that. And to get the ARs out once and for all. So, that all being said, for reals, take care, subscribe. Please watch Extraction. It's actually a really good movie. They got a lot of crazy scenes. I'm pretty sure a bevy of YouTube channels have already talked about most of those scenes. So, if it's worth it for those scenes alone, whatever you saw spoilers-wise, definitely check it out. Take care, guys.